What up, what up, what up? Welcome to another Markland Mondays. I am Christopher Markland. You know me, I'm the author of the books, Desperately Seeking Exclusivity, Desperately Seeking Pleasure, Desperately Seeking Clarity coming soon. But tonight, we're not even gonna be talking about my books. We're gonna be talking about cemeteries. Yeah, you already know what it is. We're gonna be talking about cemeteries, meaning we're not going to be talking about the spooky stuff, ghosts and goblins and all that other nonsense. No. We're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about cemeteries, as in where the bodies are buried, aka your body count or your partner's body count. We're going to be talking about what we've done in the past, what they've done in the past, and how we can have honest conversations about it. And if we can even, as they said in that movie, you can't handle the truth. Can you handle the truth about your partner's body count? All right. So that's what we're going to talk about. But as always, before we get into it, y'all, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. As you know, for everyone that's joining me, if this is your first time, what we do is we have adult conversations about relationships, about love, about sex, about everything dealing with the topic, with what's going on when it comes to love, like in relationships. I think that a lot of things have changed as far as how people go about pursuing relationships, engaging in relationships, and more importantly, how people go about having sex within relationships, how people talk about it, all of those things. That's what we talk about every Markland Monday. That's what these conversations are about. And of course, you can join the conversation as well. I'm going to be dropping the link in just a second. So let's get into it. Let us get into it. Like I said, tonight's conversation is about cemeteries. And what kind of got me to thinking about that was I forget who it was that said something last week about the fact that what we've done in the past and how we've done it, because the last conversation that we had was about celibacy and celibacy and abstinence. And as we got to talking about it, it's like a lot of people wanted to be either celibate or went into that, those that weren't moving in the sense of a religious walk or whatever their religious beliefs may be. But the conversation stemmed up around the fact that people who wanted to try and control their sexual past, their sexual relationship, that kind of thing, right? So as the conversation went on and people were chiming in the chat room, and if you're there, make sure you drop in the comments, because Lord knows I am watching them. I love to hear what you guys got to say, because y'all be on some other stuff. But it's one of those things that as we got into it, someone made a comment that they didn't want to handle the stuff in their past, and as I got to thinking about it, I was like, the past. And, it got me to thinking about the body count, meaning, what have people done, in their past? Because as I said earlier, we are all adults, right? So it got me to thinking, would you ask, or have you asked, or do you want to know about your partner's body count? Meaning, how many people have they engaged in the do? How many people do they know biblically? How many people do they know sexually? How many sexual partners has your partner had? And then we're going to get into it as far as, how many sexual partners has your partner had at one time? I want to, if you want to get into it, that's the conversation I want to have, and let's flip it around. If your partner asked you, how many people have you been with? Do you answer honestly? And the reason why I asked that particular question is I know that for women, there is a double standard. Us dudes, we are territorial, and there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like I said during all of my Ready to Love reviews, men hunt. In other words, men pursue the women that they want. However, if a man is hunting, is just like a lion doesn't want to come up on a dead body, because they want the kill. There's a thrill that comes from you securing your prey, right? So along the same lines, a lot of men are not necessarily open to the idea that their woman has already been captured, shall we say, right? So a lot of times, a lot of women, from my experience, from the conversations I've had with women, from the things I've done in my past, a lot of women realize that most men cannot handle the truth. It's like the sweet spot of bodies to say that they have is maybe three. Their first, high school sweetheart or, college, and then the guy prior to whoever they're with. It's like anything over three, it's been told to them that, you know what, I don't know about you, that kind of thing. When in reality, when you flip it around, if a man only says that he's only had three people that he's intertwined with, then all of a sudden it's almost like, bruh, that's all. So it's a crazy situation as far as how people have how our society as a whole, not even people, how our society is like, yo, women shouldn't have but so many partners. If not, they damn near need to be virgins. Where on the flip side, a man can pretty much go out there and just sling seed all over the place. So, if your partner asks you, if a man asks a woman, hey, how many people have you been with? Can you answer honestly? And vice versa. A lot of times too, ladies, if you ask your man, yo, how many women have you been with? Can you accept his honest answer? Could he answer you honestly? The question is, how much is too much? Now, don't get me wrong. We are in a hookup culture right now. When all you got to do is, pick up your phone and all you got to do is swipe left, swipe right. And, it's pretty much on demand. We are in a whole different ball game when it comes to being able to get a body. So it's a sign of the times. Yes. However, how much is too much? And that kind of leads back into our conversation about, that we had before about celibacy and abstinence, where a lot of people think, oh my God, it's too much. I got to change it, as opposed to just being, let me just be a little bit more discerning before I give up the cookies. Let me be a little bit more discerning before I, lay some wood, that kind of thing. That's one of the issues that has happened because of our culture. Now, let's take it in a different direction. Should those bodies stay buried? If you've been with somebody in your past, right? You did your thing, put it down, body's been buried, right? That's just one. We're going to add to the body count, so be it. Cool. Do you leave the past in the past? Or if you're asked about it, you be like, yeah, I did this, this, and this. And not every relationship can you have where you name names. I promise you, there's something that comes with the honesty, the openness, the transparency of being able to communicate to your partner, or have your partner communicate to you that, yeah, I did this, I did that, and you understand that you're dealing with a fully functioning sexual being, meaning that person has done certain things. Now, I think that for a lot of dudes, and fellas, I hate to do it, that's where the ego comes in. I learned a long time ago that you don't ask a question that you can't handle, or accept the answer to. So if you want to ask your lady, yo, how many dudes have you been with? You best be able to answer that question, and vice versa. How many women have you been with? Answer the question. Now, me personally, I was a virgin until I got married. Well, I've been married 3 times, so I'm not sure how the math works. But we ain't gonna get into all that. But no, it's a real thing. Like I said, the question is, should the bodies be buried, or the bodies that have been buried, meaning the people that you've been with, should they stay in the past? Or if your partner asks about it, do you answer honestly? You'd be like, you know what? Change the subject or deflect or whatever. That's one of the questions when we open up the chat line. I really want to know. I want to have these conversations with y'all. All right. Now, if you do lie about your body count, then ask the question, why? Why do you feel that you have to lie about it? Is it because, my partner can't handle it? Is it because you just don't like what you've done? Or is it the fact that, just to keep the peace, let me not say that? And if you do have to lie about it, then you really got to ask the question, why? Why is it that you cannot openly and honestly tell your partner exactly how many people you have been with? Your past is your past. That is your reality. That is who you are. A lot of times when a man asks that question, it's really because he wants to know how you learned that trick. But then it's flipped around. It's like, you can do that trick. A lot of dudes can't necessarily handle the fact that you got to learn it somewhere. You can't learn everything off TV. You can't learn everything off watching a porno. Some things you got to do, you got to practice in order to get good at it. And quite honestly, a lot of dudes can't handle the fact that a lot of women like doing certain things. But we're going to have that conversation. All right. Now, have you ever forgotten about a body that you've had? Meaning you've had a sexual partner. You had a sexual partner and you forgot that you had sex with him, y'all. I ain't even gonna lie. That's happened to me more than one time. It's like, oh shit, I did do that with her. And it's like, yo, damn. And then you start thinking, we did, has that ever happened to you where you've actually forgotten a sexual partner? I ain't talking about because you got old and your memory gone. I'm not talking about that. No, I'm talking about the fact that it may have been a one night stand. It may have been a hit it and quit it. It may have been just just stumbled upon it and, it happened, and you like, damn, I forgot I did that. You had your hot girl summer 10 years ago and you forgot all about the fact that you met somebody and did the do. And it's like, oh shit, I did do that. Have you ever had a body that just resurfaced? It's like, oh crap. All right, the last question in our conversation about cemeteries. Have you ever had a body to reincarnate itself? Meaning, you just minding your own business. It's a beautiful sunny day and you just scrolling on Facebook and all of a sudden it's like, that character. Oh my God. They were a friend of a friend of a friend. And then you saw that name and it's like, oh, and then all of a sudden, or they saw your name and next thing you know, you're getting a DM from like, hey, big head. And you're like, oh crap, I don't remember this person since college or since whatever. And you're like, damn, have you ever had that happen? Have you ever had a body reincarnate itself? I'll be honest with you. That's happened to me many times. Where I'm just all of a sudden I won't say many times. Let me not exaggerate if I get in trouble. Where you're like, yo, how you doing? And it's like, shit, I forgot all about this person. And you friend them up on Facebook, not necessarily because you're trying to repeat the past, but you just more like, oh, okay. I hadn't talked to you in a while. Now, my stance on this is that I am not a big fan. I do not believe in backtracking. When it comes to relationships, and even sexual partners, I mean, let's dig it down a little bit. Even when it comes to sexual partners, I am not a big fan of backtracking. I just do not think that nothing good comes from the fact of when you backtrack. I do not believe that there's anything healthy that comes with backtracking. There's a reason why relationships end. There's a reason why things don't work out. And there's a reason why you move the hell on. But if you keep trying to live in the past, nothing good's going to come from it. I'm trying to tell you. So I am not a big fan at all of backtracking. So if you do stumble upon a body from the past, I'm a firm believer you better let the past stay in the past. Because like I said, nothing good comes from that. Nothing good comes from you going back and trying to dig up something, literally digging up that body and trying to go back to, no. If it was good, is it worth? Nah, I don't give a damn how good it is. Nope. I promise y'all, do not backtrack. Nothing good comes from backtracking. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, y'all. We are going to be talking about backtracking. We're going to be talking about the fact that, you know what, when you have a partner, when you have I don't give a damn how good the sex is, you don't backtrack. We're also going to be talking about, is it worth it for you to, or better yet, not is it worth it? I'm not even going to word it that way. Can you honestly ask your partner how many people they've had in their past? Do you have that kind of relationship with your partner as to where you can be like, hey, or, and of course this is going to happen during the dating process. If you've gotten married, to my married people out there, Have you ever asked your partner how many? And I'm talking about. I'm not saying those that you lost your virginity to, and y'all are sweethearts, and y'all ended up getting married. I ain't talking about y'all. No, I'm talking about you met somebody, y'all developed a relationship, and next thing you know, this dude dropped down on a knee. Or hell, you could have dropped. It don't matter. One person dropped down on a knee and said, "Hey, will you marry me?" And the other person thought about it and said, "Yeah, you know what? All right, I'll do it." Next thing y'all married. Would you ask your partner, "Yo, how many people have you been with?" How many people have you been with? A lot of people cannot necessarily handle that, and for whatever reason, they think that it's not worth it. They're either scared of the answer or they don't trust their partner enough to ask them the question. So do you ask the question, how many people have you been with? And let's flip it around. If your partner asks you, would you answer the question honestly? Would you deflect? Or would you answer incorrectly, meaning it's 10 or more, but you only said 2? And if you do, the answer is why. Why would you not? For instance, okay, Sharon, I just posted the link. If you want to join the conversation, if you actually want to talk to me one-on-one, click the link, and I'm going to bring you on, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to ask you all kinds. No, I ain't going to do all that. But Sharon in the chat, she's like, "Yo, let sleeping dogs lie." Cool. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes if you know that your partner is not necessarily, let me answer it a different way. Not every relationship is open. All right. Not every relationship is open enough where certain conversations can happen. Would that be the ultimate goal? Of course, but not everything can go that route. And a lot of times, you know your partner, and you also know yourself. And if you feel that it's not a good conversation, kind of like Sharon is saying here, that, hey, you know what? Personally, I would not to be clear, Sharon, would you not ask or would you not answer? If your partner, if your spouse, your mate said, "Yo, starting at college or starting from when you graduated high school, how many people have you done the do with?" And you notice I said people. I'm not saying how many dudes. I'm not saying how many women. Just how many people have you done the do with? If your partner asked you directly, period, point blank, as they like to say, how many people have you done it with? Would you answer them honestly? Or would you be like, let's not go down that road? What would you do? If I was asked that question, I probably had to think about it, but I would answer honestly. But the fact that the person that would ask me that question, obviously my wife, we probably we've had many conversations that led up to that. So it's not a matter of all of a sudden out the blue. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie. That scared me a little bit. I mean, I ain't no punk or nothing. So if you see me crying or whatever, it's dusty in here. I don't know what. Ooh, lightning. Anyway, would I answer the question honestly? Probably. Ain't no probably. I know I would, because ain't nothing to hide. Now, let me ask you. Let's see. Sharon said, "I would not ask," and and if asked, I'd answer. That's what's up. That's what's up. I've always, let's go back a little bit. Y'all know I do these Ready to Love reviews. Love the show. Don't necessarily like all the stuff that they do, but I do love the concept of the show, and I love the fact that it's black people pursuing love. That's a beautiful thing to me. And one of the, as we've talked about it, there are 3 things that I think you need in a strong relationship. All right? Finances, communication, and sex. Now, you got to be able to talk about the sex, and you got to be able to talk about the finances. And I love the fact that what Sharon said right here, and obviously we don't know, I'm not going to dig into your marital status or whatever your relationship status is. However, I like the fact that if she's asked, she'd answer, because that's what you have to do. If your partner has the intestinal fortitude to ask the question, And you need to be able to give an honest answer. Now it's up to them to be able to handle your answer properly. And I think that that's where a lot of the problems lie. A lot of people ask a lot of darn questions, but they cannot handle the truth that comes from the answer. And then once the answer is given, that's when the conniption fits start because, I can't, no. If you ask the question, you need to be adult enough. You need to be man enough. You need to be woman enough to answer to handle the answer to the question that's given. Because what happens is this: you ask the question, your partner answers, and then you don't like the answer. So guess what's going to happen the next time you ask a question? One, there's going to be some resentment because it's like, yo, I answered the question and I got to hear about it. Either they start throwing it up in your face or they're doing this, or, you start hearing about it, that kind of BS. Or you realize that, yo, your partner, doesn't necessarily, the link doesn't work. Yo, try that one. It's interesting. It's like you're going to be resentful of your partner because it's like, yo, you asked a question, I gave you the answer, and all of a sudden, we're going to go back and forth. So what's going to happen the next time you ask a question? You're going to lie because who wants to go through that nonsense? If they can't handle the truth, what's the reason why? You know what I'm saying? Which goes into exactly what DJ's saying right here in this comment. If we can't have those conversations, I would question if you're with the right partner because you damn right. Sex, communication, finances. If we cannot communicate properly, effectively, honestly, you ask me those questions and now when I'm giving you the answers, it's a problem? No, why would I bother? Why? Okay. So Michelle, if asked, her answer is, I don't feel comfortable going down that road. So what you're saying, Michelle, is that you wouldn't, if your partner asks you, hey, how many people have you, been with? I tell you what, how about this? Let's make sure that your mic is on and I'm going to add you to the stream. Hold on one second, Michelle. And
Hi. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Michelle. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? All right. And she's gone. Okay. That was weird. Let's try this again. Trying to figure it. Y'all just hold on one second. Let me see why I'm having some audio problems right there. That was kind of weird. All right, let me try this again. We're going to repost the link, and we're going to try this again. Anyway, what Michelle was saying was this. She was like I said, she said the three things. One, she wouldn't ask. Two, I wouldn't be with someone who would ask. And three, if she was asked, she wouldn't feel. What should I say? Let's go through it together. One, she wouldn't ask. Two, I wouldn't be with someone that would ask. Been there, done that. And 3, if asked, my answer is I don't feel comfortable going down that road. And G Dubs co-signs with Michelle and Sharon. All right. I rocks with that. All right, let's see why this thing is acting the donkey. All right, hold on one second, y'all. It's always something, but you got to keep pushing, and I love it, love it, love it. Now, why is this thing acting like that? All right, we're going to figure it out in a second, and you know what? We are just going to keep it pushing. All right. Not sure what happened, but hey, it is. Boy, I tell you what, there is nothing like this is really live. So hey, stuff happens. I appreciate y'all's patience as we do it. Now, anyway, just want to make sure. Hey, y'all hit a 1 in the chat room. Let me make sure that. Okay, I see what it is. Can y'all hear me right now? Yes, no, maybe so. Want to make sure this audio is working. I can hear myself, but you know. All right, so let's see, studio mode. Okay, all right, let's hide that comment. Okay, that was really odd. All right, well, like I said, we're learning this thing as we go. All right, DJ can hear me, Sharon can hear me, G-Dubs. All right, cool, everybody can hear me. Thank you. Let me test one more thing here. All right, bet. Okay, let's get back at it. So, based on what Michelle was saying, right? Or better yet, G-Dubs, what would be the purpose of asking? What is one trying to accomplish? That is a great question. Since we're having adult conversations, since we definitely keep it real, I'm going to answer your question. And the answer is going to kind of surprise you. Let's see if we can bring Michelle back. Hold on one second. Michelle.
Hello. Can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, let's see if it goes back. This is absolutely bonkers. Absolutely playback error. No, we're not in the stream. Oh, you gotta love technology. Man, you have got to love technology, boy. I swear, this is something special. So, I guess the conversation got too spicy because I don't know what happened. We had a little bit of static, then all of a sudden, bam, the stream was gone. So, I don't know if it was it 1.2 gigawatts? I don't know what the hell just happened, but guess what? We're going to keep this conversation going. We had a little bit of static, had a little bit of stuff. All right. Let me get a 1 if y'all can hear your boy. If y'all even still here, because we're going to keep having this conversation. It's adult. It is what it is. We're going to keep it pushing, y'all. We are going to keep it pushing. Let's see what we got. If you can hear me, if you're still here, let me know. All right. So G-Dubs with the 1, Michelle with the 1. That means y'all are here, and I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Hey, Michelle. Hey, what up, G-Dubs? All right, let's talk about it. G-Dubs, you asked a question. I'm going to be real with you. The reason why most men ask. One more thing. Hold on. God damn. Well, we having fun today. You know what, though? Is that static? How am I sounding? How am I sounding, y'all? Because I put my butt all up in the camera. All right. All right, here's what we got. The reason why a lot of men ask about a woman's past is because they can't honestly ask her to do certain things that they want her to do. I believe that's just me. I don't have any evidence of it. I don't know what it is. But I think that if a woman wants to have, if a man wants a woman to do oral sex, threesomes, anal, all of those things, he'll see, it's kind of like a resume, right? If you want to know, if you're interviewing somebody for a job and you want to know, okay, how many dudes have you been with? How many this, that, and the third have you done? Then the only way to ask is, instead of you saying, hey, this is what I've done, this is why, blah, blah, blah. Instead, what a lot of people have done is, what they'll do instead is, guess basically hint around, if you will. It's like, and that's the reason why I think a lot of guys ask the question. And I really think that, going back to why, why do people want to know, more specifically, why do men want to know? Because we want certain things done. We like certain things done. And quite honestly, people don't really know how to honestly talk about what it is they like, whether it's their kinks or fetishes and things like that, or to some, what may just be considered vanilla, certain things, like I say, oral, anal, whatever, I hate to use the word typical, but, basic stuff. And that's one reason why. That's one reason. Another reason why, and this is more men asking, women about their past. It boils down to control. Hey, Michelle, like I said, we're having some adult conversations. G-Dubs, you're right. It is a vetting process because y'all, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying last week when we were talking about, abstinence and celibacy. A lot of times, a lot of people are like, I don't want to involve sex into this because they don't know how to properly vet their mates or their partners or their, they don't necessarily know how to do it. So instead of them saying, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I've done, this is when I did it, this is the response I got. Those are some grown ass questions talking about a grown ass topic. What are the things that you like? What are the things that you've done? And how was that, the response that people have gotten back? So it's like a lot of times I think a lot of people want to do certain things, but it's all fun and games until you realize, I got to do certain things. And not everybody can handle that. Not everybody can handle the fact that, this is some real shit. I like certain things. I like certain things done to me. I like certain things done a certain way. So what a lot of people do instead is they beat around the bush and ask, well, how many people have you been with? And, that kind of thing, because then that kind of gives them an idea as far as, okay, well, if this person's done that, then maybe they'll do this, And that to me, don't get me wrong, it's an ass backwards way of doing it. But honestly, that's just what that's how some people go about navigating their way of doing it. Okay. All right, we're going to break that down. Thank you. I'm still tinkering around the background, so bear with me, y'all. Okay, so I think I got some stuff going. So the number of times you've been on a horse doesn't mean you're a great rider. Yeah, well, good point. But just the fact that you've ridden a horse lets me know that you may be open to riding my horse. Or just the fact that you have at least been to a farm or been to a horse park or driven by a horse park will let me know that you're open to riding a horse. So just because, you've been on a horse doesn't mean that you're a great rider. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. But from certain men's point of view, knowing that you are at least open to riding a horse or getting on the back of this saddle or going bareback or whatever lets me know that at least the door is open. All right. You can talk about your likes, etc., without body counts. That's true. But here's the thing. For some people, talking about knowing that you are experienced will kind of let me know that, okay, if you've had these experiences, you may be open to doing more. And I want to go back to what you said. A lot of times these open and honest conversations, like Michelle said, I'm not following how somebody else's body count can let your partner know about kinks and fetishes. What it will do for some dudes is it lets us know, not me, I ain't gonna speak for myself, I'll just ask for what I want. It'll let you know that, hey, it'll open the door for deeper conversations, I guess is the best way to put it. I know it sounds crazy, and I can tell by these responses that y'all think I'm full of it, but I'm telling you, for some, and the reason why I know this is so because I've had these conversations. Like I said, this is not necessarily my perspective. This is not necessarily how I would go about doing it. Think about it. I'm having this conversation here with y'all. If you ask a question, I'll answer. So I'm a little bit more open. I'm a little bit more available. And I'm a hell of a lot more I don't even use the word understanding. I just know that, we grown people. We do grown things. So for me, I get it. What I'm saying is, from some of the dudes I've talked to over the course of a couple of years, this is how, when they realize, okay, this woman has been around for, I don't want to use that. She's more experienced, then to them, it lets them know that, hey, you know what? Maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do X. Maybe we can try Y. Now, some dudes are more open to be like, hey, let's just do it. This is what I like. This is what I don't. But the backdoor way of asking the question, honestly, is how many people, and not even asking how many people you've been with. It's not even that cut and dry. It's like, you know what? How many people, what's the way that they asked it? Would you say you've been with 5 or 10 dudes in your life or within the last couple of years, and then the conversation develops from there. Okay. Now, I agree with what Cass P is saying. You could talk about your likes without having body counts, but here's the thing. Not a lot of people can have the honest conversation about what they like and just start out with say, hey, you know what? I like X. I like eating groceries or whatever the hell it is that you like doing. Not a lot of people can do that, honestly. And I think that that's one of the reasons why we're even having this conversation in the first place, because it's like, people don't talk about what they like and how they like it. So what they instead do is they have these backdoor conversations about body counts. They have these backdoor conversations about people that you've been with. And that honestly is exactly why this comment right here. My ex wasn't trying to know anything about what I liked. He was just insecure. Remember one of the things I said at the very beginning before we had that little, sound snafu and had to come back was that a lot of men, or not a lot, there are certain men who ask about body counts or who you've been with because they want control, because they want to know, and then they use it as a cudgel against you because you've done this, you've done that. And that right there is part of the problem. For me, that this is just my personal opinion on this topic. I haven't really told y'all how I think. I just wanted to talk about it because, like I said, it was brought up in a previous Markland Mondays. For me, your past doesn't matter. I can have the conversation about what you've done, who you've done it with, and quite honestly, it's fascinating to me. But who you've been with and what you did with them, ain't nothing but a damn conversation to me. It's more fascinating, like, oh, you did that? Oh, okay, cool. And then you keep it pushing. Because I'm secure in what I'm bringing to the table right now. And we're going to talk about the table, and that's another conversation. But I'm secure with what I'm bringing to the table now, how I'm bringing it, and how it's being received. But for a lot of people, a lot of men specifically, when they ask about who you've been with in your past, what it then becomes is, was he better than me? Was he bigger than me? Did he let all that other nonsense? And that's where, like Madam was saying, the insecurity comes in. To me, the perfect answer to the question is if you know that your partner can't handle the truth, ladies, you better lie to that dude, because some dudes can't handle it. Some dudes can't handle it. Who am I today? We live and learn. That's just it. But the very last word of your sentence, Sharon, learn. Some guys wonder how you learned the tricks that you did and how you do what you do. And how did you learn it? What did you do? Those are honestly a part of who we are now. But like I said, not everybody can handle your cemetery. Not everybody can handle your body count. Because you got to ask yourself, okay, how much, if your dude said I've been with, I don't know, he was a porn star. It's like, So if your wife told you she swung from the chandelier of an NBA team's locker room, would I be good with that? Yeah, I'm fine with her swinging from the chandelier. If that's all she did was swung from the chandelier, okay, cool. Yeah. I don't know, was she changing the lights? Let me stop. Yes. Would I be cool with that? Yeah. Yeah. And here's the reason why. Once again, one, it got to the point that I married her because I'm hoping that we would have had that, hoping. I'm gonna speak for myself. I would have had that conversation prior to us getting married. All right, so Madam says, so if your wife told you that she swung from the chandelier of an NBA team's locker room, would you be good with that? The honest answer is yes. Yes. The honest answer is yes. Now, your question hasn't come up yet, but here's the reason why the answer is yes. Y'all, just full disclosure, I've been married twice before, and I'm married again for the third time. The previous two marriages, I was not honest about what I liked sexually, what I cared for, the things that I did, and how, just all of that, right? And one of the reasons why I stress therapy and communication is because once you're able to talk about yourself, your past, your hurts, your this, your that, you're then able to talk about exactly what it is right here. Would her answer affect my decision in marrying her? Now, if she, let's go back to your original question, because I appreciate this. This is what I really like this. If your wife told you that she swung from the chandelier, in other words, if my wife said it, all right, she just laid down, did a whole damn team, just, boom, did it. All right, fine. That was done before I got married, before I even thought about marrying her. The woman that's in front of me, I understand is a sexual being. That's honestly one of the reasons that I'm attracted to her. Once again, that goes back to why I'm not a fan of the celibacy and all of that. She is who she is. So would her answer affect my decision in marrying her? No. Because I'm not marrying her because of what she did in her past. I'm marrying her because of what me and her can do together moving forward in our future. Because honestly, if that was the case, some of the stuff that I've done in my past, we could flip it around because I've done some stuff. One of the questions, what I did in my monologue was I asked a question as far as, I spoke about the double standard. And there is a double standard when it comes, and it's like, okay, if she did this, then oh my God, but if I did that, yeah, boy, no. Part of being honest, part of being, for lack of a word, not necessarily sexually liberated and all that. I'm not even saying that. You know what I'm saying? It's not even, none of those things. I ain't never been with no dudes or nothing like that. But as far as multiple, yeah. So therefore, if us having that conversation, if she says, yo, I did this, I've done that, and I'm like, okay, well, cool. Now, the question that I would ask is, if she swung from the chandelier to the locker room, I'm going to ask, yo, you still got to keep that locker room? Are you still in communication with those dudes? And if so, let's talk about that. Not necessarily what you did in the past and who you did it with. No, I need to know. No one say I need to know. No, let's have the conversation about where you are now, what it is you desire now. Because if you did it in your past, if you did that in your past, there's a reason. There are few reasons why. Either you were coerced or you were inebriated, or that's what you enjoyed doing. So you did what you did because it gave you pleasure. If it gives you pleasure, then let's talk about why. Or not even why. Let's talk about, what is it that gives you pleasure sexually, and then let's have them adult conversations. If you were coerced, or if you, did it and it wasn't of your own free will, then let's talk about therapy. If you're still doing it now, then, what is it that we're trying to do moving forward? Those are the conversations that we would have. Not necessarily, oh my God, you did that. No. So to answer your question, how would her answer affect my decision in marrying her? It depends on so many different things. But just the fact that she did certain things with her in her past, no, hell no. Because I understand that I did certain things, and also we're having that honest conversation. No bullshit. No, I don't need for you to try and sugarcoat it. Let's have that conversation. And just like you said, hard conversations must take place, should take place before your marriage. Also in counseling. But also you got to have them damn conversations. And I think that that's why a lot of times people go wrong. The representative stays up and certain hard questions aren't asked. Now, I'm not saying that you say, all right, I need to know who you had sex with, where you did it, how long y'all did it, were they better than me? Oh, no. But if you did something in your past and it gives you pleasure, then you should be able to have that conversation with your partner. If you did it because you liked it, then why are you not telling your partner that you did something that you liked? Is it because your partner can't handle it? Is it because your partner's insecure? Is it because you don't like what you did? Then if you don't like what you did, why? Who's holding that against you? Which goes back to what we were talking about with celibacy and abstinence. Oh my God, I did that. So let me just run to, I'm not going. No, you did it. You liked it. Okay, cool. Them hard conversations, y'all. Them hard conversations. Now, Michelle said lie. So the appropriate number to lie about it, 3 actually. When in doing my quote unquote research, I found that the best number for most dudes is 3. The guy and this is from talking to dudes, the guy that they lost their virginity to, the guy that they were in a long-term relationship, high school, going into college, and then the guy prior to them. That was the number that it came up to be. Just doing a real simple survey of the dudes. It was 3. Not 5, but 3. Prior to this broadcast, I really sat and thought about, like, what is my body count? How many women have had the pleasure of me? And I'm sorry. I tickle myself sometimes. How many women have I been with, right? How many women have I been with since, I'm not going to count high school. I didn't do college, so, I went in the military. And carry the 1, multiply by 10, square root of red. Yeah, I've had a few partners in my life. So, I'm just saying. I'm Jamaican. What can I say? I feel dudes are getting hip to 3. I say 4. What do you mean 4? Wait a minute. I got to give him that one club guy so he knows man. Okay, that's a great question. If you're asked, your guy asks, all right? They're like, oh, man, you shouldn't be asking. But the guy says, yo, I'm really digging you. I really want to know, how many guys you've been with prior to me. Ladies, what number are you telling him? What number are you telling that dude that's asking you that you've been with? What are you telling him is your body count? Are you saying less than 10? You saying more than 10? Are you saying less than 5? Are you saying more than 5? Like I said, I'm just curious. I'm not saying your actual body count. I'm saying if somebody asks you that in the club, just like you said, if dudes, I got to give them that one. Y'all feeling each other. Y'all are like, ooh, okay, you know what? It's the 5th date. Y'all are you realize that, you know what? He's all right. This guy could be, the one. Y'all are getting hot and heavy. You know what? Let's dig into that. You've been dating a guy for a while, ladies, all right? She said, God dang business. Bonics. If you're dating a guy, things are going well, you're really feeling this dude, then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, he wants to know before he moves forward. I guess we already know the answer. None of your damn business, quite honestly. But let's say he doesn't ask you, okay, how many guys, your past, He asks you about certain things that you may like or certain things that he likes. When would it be appropriate? When would you want to have that conversation for that? Not necessarily the body count, but it's like, hey, I like this, I like that. That's what he tells you. Do you have that conversation then or what? Because I honestly think that a lot of people, a lot of women especially, are scared to have that convo. I'm just saying. Which is, all right. Let me go back and talk about why this particular topic or subject came up. Right. One of those things was, y'all know I do the Rated Love reviews, and in one of the things that happened this past season was two of the couples or two of the contestants on the show were talking about they had met before, and they, even though they went on dates before, it didn't work out. And then they got back and I told y'all then, I'm telling y'all now, I'm not a fan of backtracking. So then as we got to talking about, when it comes to being celibate, being abstinent, I'm just going to go back a little bit and recap. We talked about being celibate, being abstinent, where a lot of people, okay, where a lot of people were like, well, I don't want to be abstinent. I'm going to be abstinent or I'm going to be celibate because of the things that I did in my past, and I want to move forward differently. And I'm like, yeah, I don't agree with that. What you did in your past, what you did in your past. You ain't got to be abstinent or celibate in order to move forward. You ain't got to cut off something that's pleasurable, unless, of course, it's for religious reasons, and then that's a whole nother conversation, right? So that's how we got on, that's how this particular subject popped into my mind. Like, what, let's talk about it. Body counts. A lot of times, people say that their body count's too high. And if you've been with these many people, then, all the nonsense, because the way we talk about sex and the things that give us pleasure is so messed up in today's society. We live in a hookup culture where it's easy as hell to have sex. Okay. We live in a culture where it quite honestly is very easy to have sex. I mean, if you want to, hell, you can walk down the street and, fall onto a peen. You can walk down the street and trip and fall in. It's easy to have sex with people because we're a swipe away. We're a DM away. It's easy to get into. However, just because having sex is easy, it's the conversations that come about either meaningful relationships, long-term relationships, what it takes to really happen, about the sex, communication, the finances, those three basics that lead to trust, those things that it takes for a solid relationship. The communication piece is not there. The sex piece is not there, because yes, you may be having sex, but it's not necessarily, you're not doing the things that give you pleasure. So that's how we got onto this. And Carrie says, I feel the conversation can be had without the body count explanation. I agree. For those of you that missed it, my personal belief is you don't have to talk about your body count. You don't have to talk about who you've had sex with and how many men or how many women you've had sex with in order to have a conversation about what it is that gives you pleasure. That's my personal belief. Sharon said, I personally would not be discussing this question with a boyfriend. With a husband, maybe? Oh. Michelle, if I am turned on by smelly feet, how does my body count play a part in finding out why? The answer to that question, and like I said, this is not from me. This is from just conversations that I've had. As y'all know, one of the things that I do, I am a writer. And the way that I write is I coined the phrase relatable romance. When I write, I tell stories about people that we all interact with every day. When I read books or whatever, nothing irritates me more than when they're telling a story about every woman in there is absolutely perfect. She's a model or, this, that, and the third. And every man in the book, he's 6'4", built like a linebacker with a 10-inch schlong that can go all day. And then he's a billionaire that drives to work in a Bentley and then drives back home in a Porsche. I don't know them people. Maybe you do, but that's not relatable to me. So the way that I write is I write about people that I know. And one of the things that I do is I do surveys or interviews about, just different people, and then I weave those answers that I get from the survey questions in to my story, so that way it adds to the realism of the stories that I'm telling in my books. So as I'm talking to different men and talking to different women, in order just to get their feedback, to certain questions come up, especially when I was writing my second book, Desperately Seeking Pleasure. Certain things came up, and then those conversations delved, and we started talking about certain things, right? And it's like it's like as I was talking to the men, it came up that, and like I said, this was more specifically for my book, Desperately Seeking Pleasure, because I wrote about different acts and different things and different places and different people, and how people can't be honest with what it is that they like, their pleasure. Desperately Seeking Pleasure. That's the title of the book. I'm gonna check that out. So when I was asking these men the question, like, okay, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Or, well, if this was this and she told you this, how would you react? The body count question came up, and this was way back when I was interviewing the book. And then, like I said, it just came up again. What I gathered the most was that what I gathered the most is that a lot of men don't know how to ask the questions in a way that would make them get the answers that they really wanted. Like I said, all of us have our thing. We like that one thing, or we have a particular kink, or we have a fetish, or whatever the case may be. And not everybody, especially men, are able to talk about the thing that they really like, whatever that thing may be. So what they do is they backdoor asking for it by trying to see how many men she's been with, where she was in her life and what she did with those men. I know that that's a damn turnoff, because like, yo, what the fuck why do you want to know about my past, right? We've seen it in these conversations before. It's like, yo, why, like Sharon said, I feel this conversation can be had. Why you asking about my body count? Talk to me about what you want. Be honest, be direct. I like when you do this. I like when you do that little thing with your tongue. Be honest, be direct. But a lot of men can't do that. And quite honestly, a lot of women either. And that goes back to sex communication and finances. If you cannot communicate properly about sex, then what you do is you do backdoor shit, such as, what's your body count? Okay? And that's what testing is for nowadays. I'm from a different generation where, yeah, you say what you got to say. Yo, the wife popped in to say, I'm glad my husband, well, I ain't on that BS, but we be having some conversations. It is pretty good. So it's like we don't talk honestly enough about sex, but what we do is we talk around sex. We talk around the things that we enjoy. We talk around and around, instead of saying, yo, this is what I like, this is what I don't. And that's why I've been stressing this: therapy and communication. Talk to your therapist, and then talk to your partner. Let me go back a little bit, because I think I missed a few comments. So sorry, y'all. Trying to go back and read some of these comments. Carrie asked a question. Would you say that men are more emotional in that regard? Yeah. The honest answer is yes. But let's define the terms, all right? Let's define what's more emotional. Meaning, can men handle the fact that their woman has been with more men besides them? Hell no. What's that movie? What was that damn movie? Oh my God. With Tay Diggs. Oh, what was that damn? Yeah, it was Tay Diggs, right? The Best Man. And in that movie, even though it was a fictionalized account as far as what happened and this, that, and the third, the honest answer is that's probably how that is how most men are. That honestly is how most men are, in that old boy is a football player, he was doing his thing. And of course I know what more emotional means. So in that movie, the husband, prior to them getting married, the wife had a sexual encounter with a friend, right? And the dude couldn't handle it. Not necessarily, and I don't think it was just about the fact that she had sex with another dude, but it was his friend. But the bottom line is that the guy could not handle it, right? And I want to say that they had even broken. It was something crazy. Don't get me wrong. It was kind of crazy. Yeah, The Best Man. Thank you. And it was one of those things where he was out thotting and bopping. He was a football star. He was just knocking them down left and right. However, when she stepped out one time, oh my God, oh Jesus. Yes, men are more emotional in that regard. Now, when we talk about the term "in that regard," meaning if a man finds out that his woman's been with more than two people in her life, yeah, some dudes can't handle it. Whereas I think a woman is more apt to handle the fact that her dude has been knocking them down left and right. So yes, to answer your question, Carrie, would I say that men are more emotional in that regard? Yeah. The honest answer is yeah. Is it? And I want to say honestly that the reason that most men can't handle it is probably societal driven, because let me think on that before I dig too deep. If men are hunters, why would they be emotional if they are out here having sex with multiple women? Because they're having sex with multiple women. They're not developing relationships with multiple women. So in other words, I can go out there and just, if I want to, have sex with 10 different women, cool. That's me having sex with 10 different women, but I want to have a relationship with one, unless I'm trying to be I'm in a polyamorous type situation, and now I have multiple women that I'm developing a relationship with. But that's a whole different ball game. That's not a sexual thing. That's more multiple relationships, and even then, it comes with rules. So, and I'll be honest with you, the reason that most men are, not reason, most men are hunters. There's a certain pleasure that comes with the hunt. There's a certain pleasure that comes with chasing down the prey, or in this case, a man chasing down a woman. Or a man pursuing a woman. Don't chase no. A man pursuing a woman. He's dating her. He's courting her. He's doing those things. And then she's in return reciprocating, and she knows how to be chased. There's a certain pleasure that is derived from that. Not necessarily just knocking them down for the kill, but hunting a woman in order to get to that point, to that prize, to give her the ring, that kind of thing. There's a pleasure that comes with that. And not everyone is that you're hunting are you seeking to marry? Are you seeking to have sex with them? Yeah. Are you seeking to have sex with them more than once if it's good? Hell yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're hunting them for the same reason. So of course you're going to be emotional when the one that you do want to have with you, or to be clear, some men are emotional about the one that they choose, knowing that somebody else hunted and ate that. Yeah. Dudes get emotional about that. It is what it is. That's why women will take a cheater back 10,000. That's a lot. 10,000. That dude was knocking them down. Now that's a body count. That's why women will take a cheater back 10,000 times, but let her cheat once. Well, yeah, we talked about this last time. Why are y'all even cheating? Women, y'all got to do better. But anyway, yes. But quiet as it's kept, though, in most relationships, people don't normally break. It's not normally over, even though the man will overreact. So it is what it is. And yes, Sharon, the key is relationship. The key is a relationship. Man, if you're in a relationship, I honestly do think you may not necessarily talk about body counts. And, if that's how you and your partner who you're with, if those are the conversations that you have, then so be it. But honestly, you do have to have conversations. I am a firm believer that you got to have conversations about what it is that you want. What is it that gives you pleasure? What is it? And going back to, ate that, it's kind of like, let's go. I'm going to go back to what the madam said about this. I think this is when we're having some audio problems, right? And she was asking me directly, if your wife told you that she swung from the chandelier of an NBA team's locker room, would I be good with that? If the woman that I'm dating, and obviously y'all know I'm married, I'm not going to dig too much into some of those conversations that we had, but we've talked about some of the things that she's done, some of the things that I've done that were not the quote unquote norm. But the reason that it was done, the reason why I did them was, I may have been experimenting, it's like, oh, you want me to do that to you? All right, shout it, let go. Whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? So if you've done certain things, if you did them and they gave you pleasure, then why not talk about it? Why not talk about it? And that, I think, is part of the problem, And Cass, shit, you 100% right. I've never really understood when people ask a question and cannot handle a damn answer. Then why the hell did you ask me in the first place? And there are a lot of times, especially, and I'm doing this for my dudes out there. It's like, yo, if you cannot handle the question, because I really think that most men don't realize how sexual a being most women are. We kind of sort of have these traditional views of women that women just, are there, that y'all are ribbed for our pleasure. And in reality, y'all got y'all's needs, desires, and y'all some freaky ass women, y'all some freaky ass beings out there. Y'all have, that's why toys are sold damn near more to women than to men. But I don't think a lot of dudes, one, realize it, and two, can handle it. So therefore, it's like a lot of dudes want women to do certain things and quite honestly can't handle it when they do. But then at the same time, the old adage of we want, a freak in the sheets and a lady in the streets, that is also as well. And that's why when I go back to saying that we are part of a hookup culture, that's what I'm talking about. Because a lot of times, quite honestly, between OnlyFans and porn, I can get whatever the hell I want. And that in and of itself is a problem. Because, we all want certain things. All as dudes, there's some baseline things that we got to have. But that really and truly is most men want certain things and don't know how to ask for them. And because we don't ask, or most men don't ask properly, we're not ready for the answer that we get. So instead of saying, hey, I like when this is done, or I like when we go to this situation, or I like when we go to that place where there's a group of people and I like that kind of stuff. Instead of having those conversations, it's asked in a certain way that when the real answer is like, oh yeah, I've been there. It's like, oh, you've done that? Well, how many people you've been, that kind of thing. And it's the answer is never handled properly. That's been the feedback that I've gotten. Let me go back over my notes, see if there's anything that I may have missed. I'm going to post the link one more time if you want to have this conversation live, because I really do want to talk to a couple of y'all, because I like what y'all are talking about. Let me go back over my notes. What were the questions that I asked that we talked about? One, do you ask the question? You're in a relationship with somebody. Do you ask them, hey, how many people you been with? I mean, you may not ask it that point blank, that dry, but yeah, have you ever asked the question? Have you ever said, you've been with somebody and you're really curious. How many people have you been with? If you are in a relationship on the flip side and they asked you, do you answer? If they ask you how many people have you been with, do you say, you know what, I've been with 50 million or I don't know, 10,000, whatever. If you ask the question or it comes up in conversation and they're like, yeah, man, I've been with 45 women or 50 women, 70 women, or, to my fellas, you've been with, yeah, I've been with 26 dudes. How much is too much? You may not have asked them, exactly what their body count is, but in the midst of conversation, you start doing the math and realize, God, okay. How much is too much? And then let's talk about the double standard of how much is too much. For us guys, if I've been, Sharon says she's never asked anyone that question. Okay. And let me see, have I ever asked anyone that question? Have I ever asked that question? No. Never asked how many people you've been with. I really don't care. I think I may have asked what some of the stuff you've done, just point blank, just to know, because I'm more curious. Or no, I ain't asked what you've done. I'm asking, what would you do? Anyway, number 5, should bodies stay buried? I think overwhelmingly the answer to that question is hell yeah. One, y'all know, like I said, my stance on, I do not believe in backtracking, either sexually or, intimately, meaning in a relationship. Once it's over, it's over. Move the hell on. Another, would you lie about your body count? If they asked you period point blank, would you, one, obviously answer the question, and two, would you tell the truth? Now, this is not necessarily somebody asking you or coming up in conversation, but have you ever forgotten about someone that, let me put it this way, a body. Have you ever forgotten about someone that you've actually had sex with, a body that, has been buried, and you forgot all about the fact that, oh, damn, I did that? And has a body ever reincarnated itself? Meaning, you did something with somebody, y'all had fun, and all of a sudden you come across them on Facebook and it's like, yo, this person. And they send you a friend request and they start DMing, or I guess if they DM you and you respond back, that's a conversation. It goes back to what I say, them bodies need to be buried. Stay buried in the past. Let the past be the past. You better let that thing go. So, we are going to wrap it up. We had a couple issues though, but y'all, I want to thank you for joining this conversation. I know that the bottom line is there's certain things that need to stay in the past. And even though we talk about body counts and, guys say, all right, she's done this, she's done that. Women say, oh my God, he's done this, he's done that. The bottom line is your past is your past. And if you did something, it's what you felt like doing as an adult. If you weren't coerced or if it wasn't forced, and then that's another conversation. But if you did something, that's your past. Let the past be in the past, and don't necessarily, you ain't got to be asking people about it. And honestly, it's none of their business. Telling you, let the past stay in the past. Try to resurrect himself like Lazarus. Let the past be in the past. Let it stay there. I'm telling y'all. And it's like, if somebody doesn't know how to have the conversation, if somebody doesn't know how to ask about what it is they really want, then that's a problem. Because if they cannot have a conversation, sex, communication, finances. Sex, communication, finances. Communication. You got to have it. Anyway, y'all, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. I want to say thank you for joining me on this conversation, y'all. We had a pretty interesting night tonight, right? Next week, I know what I want to talk about, but if it changes, it changes, right? We talked about it before. The table, what are you bringing to it? So we're going to talk about that next week. You hear about it so much, but I don't think we really talk about what it is and what the table actually means. So y'all have a great week. Once again, thank you for joining me. I talked about my books. Links are going to be in the comment section. As always, y'all, stay determined. I will see y'all next week. Have a good one, y'all.